Okay, reading from the order.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Councilwoman Shaw, will you lead us in prayer?
Heavenly Father, we come to you with humble hearts and we ask that you give us wisdom as we make decisions. We pray that we're making the right decision tonight and we ask you to bless the person who fills Councilman Bear's seat. We ask you to bless and protect our employees, police officers, and first responders. And we thank the members of the military, both past and present, and ask that you keep them safe. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen.
All right, Debbie. Announce them. Announce them and we'll go from there.
On the vote of the council person replacing Councilman Fair will be Jack Thomas.
Okay. You take a seat there, Jack, somewhere.
Do you have to swear me in?
Oh, yeah.
Swear at him.
Swear at me.
Yeah. Well,
John, we'd like to thank you for applying also.
Yeah.
And I'd like your ideas.
No, thank you.
Keep thinking them up, and we have 4 seats.
Oh, I know, yep,
2021.
yep.
Absolutely.
sorry about that, I sort of lost my mind.
Well, man, you got a fancy nameplate.
John got that from me. All right. I state your name.
I, John Thomas,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Ohio.
and the Constitution of the State of Ohio.
I further affirm that I am not now,
I further affirm that I am not now,
nor have I been in the past,
nor have I been in the past,
a member of any organization,
a member of any organization,
association, movement, group of combination of persons, associations and movements
association, movement, group, of combination of persons
who advocates the overthrow of our constitutional form of government.
who advocates the overthrow of our constitutional form of government.
I will faithfully, honestly, and impartially discharge the duties of the office.
I will faithfully, honestly, and, what was the first one?
Impartially,
Impartially discharge the duties of the office
of councilman person
of council person
of the municipality of Beach City,
of the municipality of Beach City,
state of Ohio,
state of Ohio,
during my continuance in said office.
during my continuance in said office.
Welcome, Jack.
Thank
All right, welcome back.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Everybody's here.
No, this one here will be fine.
Okay, minutes.
Motion for the minutes.
Bennett? Yes. Thomas?
Abstain.
Richards?
Yes.
McKinney?
Yes.
Bailey?
Yes.
And Schott?
Yes.
Bills.
Motion.
Second.
Bennett?
Yes.
Thomas?
I never seen a copy of them, so I will abstain from that as well.
Richards?
Yes.
McKinney?
Yes.
Bailey?
Yes.
And Schott?
Yes.
Hourly workers' time report. Anyone? Okay, fireman's time.
Motion for the fireman's time. Second.
Bennett?
Yes.
Thomas,
Yes.
Richards,
Yes.
McKinney,
Yes.
Bailey,
Yes.
and Schott.
Yes.
Okay, clerk, you're up.
Mrs. Willis did the deposits for the tax collections in the month of April. She deposited $17,784.93. We received from the Ohio Bureau of Workers' Compensation $11,829.39. That's the amount of the money they said they were going to reimburse the governments for the year 2018 to help offset the cost of the COVID-19 virus. The auditors called today. They've asked to come back, they figure, for one more day in-house. I've scheduled them for 5/15/2020, which is on Friday, and told them they would be in the back, that they should plan on wearing masks in that day. There was letters sent to two employees, Long and Matheny, regarding returning to work on 5/5, which is tomorrow. I haven't heard anything from Stephanie Long yet, but that's her normal day to return to work. And Mrs. Matheny will give us an answer tomorrow whether she'll be coming back or we'll be replacing her. As far as the laws and rules set up, if you've been keeping on top of the changes that they're doing with regarding the coronavirus, if you work in an office situation that you're in an enclosed room by yourself, you do not have to wear a mask. We have our doors closed until the end of May. Cindy came up with the idea of getting sneeze guards, and we talked with the mayor and the village administrator. The village administrator is working with a company that's going to come in and measure the counters for us to enclose Cindy in with just a space to put envelopes through. And the side that is of the counter going to Stephanie's office will also have a face guard for Stephanie to come around to that area to wait on an income tax customer. She cannot bring customers in her office unless she's wearing her mask. To be able to work without a mask, you have to be in an enclosed office by yourself.
This goes beyond May 30th, in other words.
Well, we're trying to get it done before May 30th. Now, it's gonna be your decision on what you wanna do after the end of May, whether when we open to the public, if you're going to restrict them coming in wearing face masks or not. That's gonna be council's decision. That's something you have to talk about and decide.
I have to wait, I think we'll wait for the governor, see what he's gonna say. And the next meeting, we have a better chance of knowing what's going on. Cause everything changes day by day.
It does.
And you're putting a plexiglass, right?
I don't know if it's gonna be.
They were-
I think it's glass.
Yeah, it is glass. The company I was talking with said plexiglass is all great and everything, but once you start actually cleaning it
Yeah.
and having it, it'll get hazy, where actual glass will probably be better. It doesn't hold germs nearly as much.
You're gonna get a shatterproof glass.
That I'm unsure. They're coming down to talk and measure, and we'll talk about thickness and everything when they get here. It's land glass out of can. That was one of the things I was gonna
All right.
talk about.
Bulletproof.
And the last thing I have is the second reading of ordinance 2005. It's the reading to increase the 2020 fire appropriations, the amount of the grant that they received. So it'll be your second reading. And that's all I have.
Thank you, Deborah. Well, no
Debbie, did-
visitors. Oh, go
I
ahead.
got a question.
Sure.
What happened on the Chapter 11 protection, US bankruptcy for
Frontier,
Frontier?
more paperwork came in today. I didn't read it. I passed it out to
I'm
the
glad
people
you
that it's
asked.
addressed to, and I don't know where it's at. I mean, we get that when companies
Right.
file bankruptcy, we get a lot of that paperwork, but usually we're on the bottom end of collecting anything.
I get this sent to me. This is the entire polls.
Oh, my.
You can, if you get bored.
No, I'm not bored.
That's the entire chapter 11.
Are you?
Wow, that's.
With the plaintiff.
I'm not that bored.
Yeah, that's everything.
Is that what this is?
Yes,
That is what that is, correct?
I opened it and stamped it.
I'll be reading, yes.
Some light reading.
What kind of money do they owe us, Debbie?
I don't know that they owe us actually anything.
I didn't think
I don't
so.
think so. They'll probably go chapter 11 anyways.
Yeah, that's what,
Everything will work, so.
it'd be good for, that was glancing over, it's chapter 11.
Okay, that's all I got.
No visitors, public speaks, no fire, police.
Wanna do the other thing?
Yeah, go ahead, Lou.
I make a motion, we go into executive session personnel. It's, what is it,
Personnel, I guess. Would it be personnel?
Yeah, to discuss the discipline of a public.
discipline of a public official.
Second,
Bennett,
Yes.
Thomas,
Yes.
Richards,
Yes.
McKinney,
Yes.
Bailey,
yes.
and Schott.
Yes.
Okay.
I would make a motion to return from executive session with no action taken.
Second,
Bennett,
Yes.
Thomas,
Yes.
Richards,
Yes.
McKinney,
Yes.
Bailey,
yes.
and Schott.
Yes.
Okay. Kurt, do you have any, village administrator, go ahead. Go back to police.
We have a couple things going on right now. We're installing the electric down at the Dollar General site. I was talking with my lead lineman today. We just hung our transformers. We got our poles set, so we're almost done there. We will have, Advanced Sewer is going to be in town tomorrow on the backside of 120 Redwood Southwest, where we had an issue with we have roots in our main sewer line, and we don't have the equipment to effectively jet that, so they're coming down. They're from Canton, and they're going to jet a stretch of our line, roughly, I want to say it's about 60 feet, maybe a little more. That way we don't have any issues ever again with it being in our main. I also contacted, Debbie talked about it earlier, with the glass company coming in. They're gonna come back and measure everything up and talk to me, and I'll be getting a quote for that. Hicks Roofing, we had a piece of our roofing on one of our street garages come off, and I contacted Hicks Roofing. They were here Friday. I talked to the gentleman this morning, and he's trying to give me a quote for that. He said it shouldn't be much, but there's a piece of our roof that got blown back when we had those really strong winds, and I want to get it fixed as soon as possible so we don't get any equipment leaked on. Me and Kurt also, we installed a light bar and an LED bar on the blue sewer truck. That way, if they're ever out here in the middle of the night on 93 or 212 or just on any street in town, it's very well lit. So that's installed. One big thing, we just sent out surveys here with our last utility bills for our ODNR grant for a survey for the park. And it was a Nature Works program. The grant was supposed to end on June 1st of this year, but with this whole coronavirus thing, they actually extended it until June 1st of 2021. So they will not award anything for that grant. You can still submit your application and they'll hold it for that long, but they extended it out a year because the way it is fiscally right now, they don't know if they're gonna be able to award any money, so they just said we're extending it out a year. So whenever I get those back, I'll have to just put them in a file or a time capsule and get them out in about a year, that way I'll know. H&S Service, they're the company, gentleman I believe lives on Portland, who serviced our generators. They're done with that. There was a few things that he saw that could need replaced. There's a couple hoses for just various things, nothing that was a large ticket item, but I'm going to be speaking with him and seeing what we're gonna get quoted for that to fix that and get everything kind of back up to par. Other than that, I do not have anything else at this point.
I have a question for you. Lawrence, go ahead.
Was that on the generator for out at,
County One, I could tell you, I have that file in there. There's certain things, not all of them are, he itemized every single one, what would need to be done on
but the
them.
hose isn't for out there?
I don't believe so. I don't quote me on that, because I gotta go back and look. But he did all 6 of ours. I think he services 6 of them. And we used to have W.W. Williams. They would only come down and do 1 or 2 and charge us $83 mileage from driving from Twinsburg down here. And they would do that 3 or 4 times. He doesn't charge mileage. You got them all done in like a day.
How do we do with the digger truck?
Digger truck. There was a company out of Zanesville that I called, and we probably need to look at the storage bins on the side of there are coming off. Is that what you're talking about? They're coming
That was the
loose.
one down Zanesville, yes.
Yeah, it's down in Danesville. Yeah, talked to a guy down there and he said he's gonna, whenever this whole thing breaks, they're not sending guys out right now, but when they start doing it, he'll come up and look at it and kinda give us an idea where we're at. But they're not even sending technicians or anybody out right now to look at anything. It's Anco, I think, I can't remember the name of the company, I got it written down, but, yeah. So,
Go ahead.
Have you discussed with Brewster about the property we're supplying electric to?
yeah, that is, you're talking about the trailer park?
Yes.
Yeah, I talked with their village administrator probably about 2 months ago about that and the possibility of them taking it over. And let's put it this way, they're under no obligation to take that over. And don't take this the wrong way, he was a lawyer, so I think he knows the legality of a little bit more than me. That being said, that trailer park is not really beneficial for us to have in our distribution system, but it's antiquated, so everything's old. I mean, so it's just gonna keep costing us nickel and diming down the road unless we can, and the odd part is that that trailer park sits in the village of Brewster, right out of the city power. So it creates a very interesting dynamic where they really don't have to take it over, but we could, if we wanted to, we could say we're gonna quit powering it, and then they would have to. So there's ways around it. I don't know if I wanna go that route with starting to burn bridges, and I've only been here for 5 months, so, I could call him again, see what maybe we could do. It's right at the end of our line. That's the end of our northernmost part of our line. We shoot, down, 62 a little bit, and then we end, that's pretty much the northernmost part of our line. So, I could talk with him again, kind of open up a conversation about it, see what he has to say.
So you get sewer and water from Brewster.
Yeah, and police protection.
Yeah, but they're getting the electric from us, and it's in the village of Brewster.
Oh, we've had it probably 30, 40 years. I'm just.
That was before they annexed it.
Yeah, Brewster, yeah,
They,
There you go.
once they annexed with the schools and everything, then it became inside the village.
well, and honestly,
Wasn't
what,
one
what
time.
Brewster, I think what they would like to do eventually, and if we were to give that up, I need my whiteboard. If you go south on 93, you know how much I like using it. So if you go south on 93 and cut, eastbound on 62 to where there's those storage units, that's where we end. But Brewster has they have the high school, the middle school, they wanna
They wanna make the circle.
They wanna loop it, which I don't have a problem if we have to give up, not even a half a mile of line. So it's something that could be talked about, that they eventually wanna do that, cause it would tie their whole system into it. You know, they wouldn't have that little part of 62 that they
Well,
don't
the
have.
swimming pool wanted to go with 3-phase. They wanted Brewster to run it down there
Mhm.
one time.
It's really not all that far from where they're at now.
Just wondering.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's one of those things I'll talk to Mike tomorrow, I'll send him an email and see if he wants to kind of open up a conversation about it. Cause the last time I talked to him via email, he didn't seem like he wanted to talk about it. He was cordial about it, but I don't think he wanted to talk about it.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Muller. Kurt, do you have anything else for the police?
We are currently down right now 60 calls from last year.
That's good.
So hopefully once everything lifts, a lot of that was self-initiated. So I'm hoping that things bump back up after this is over with, other than after the COVID stuff's over, so.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
Kurt, I have a question for you.
Yes, sir.
With this, with the stay-at-home thing, I know the calls are down 60%, but are domestics up any?
The calls have changed. Domestics on our end have not gone up. We've had some more severe calls, but nothing. We had a armed robbery in Wilmot. We had a possibly breaking and entering in one of our, at Shaka's. We had one domestic between two brothers. It wasn't really, it was a verbal altercation between two brothers. And then we had assist on another department for a burglary, and then we assist another department for a neighborhood dispute, but other than domestics themselves, no.
The reason I asked, because everybody, more stay at home now, and also people were out without jobs.
So the
So
people,
finances and then being at home,
so my
or-
concern right now, people just received their stimulus check. People are receiving unemployment now, receiving extra money on unemployment from my understanding. And they've got money and it's still fresh. My concern is when everything's released and the landlords and banks start calling for their
Money.
house payment and rent. That's when my concern is, when things warm up.
Mhm.
That's when I feel we may end up running into more issues. Once the money runs out, that's usually when the problems come.
okay, I was just wondering, because people are not working now and,
So far, it's been, other than, I guess the other thing I have is, the problem we are noticing is there's been a lot of four-wheelers and ATVs and dirt bikes on the roadways. We are done giving warnings. We are going to be citing and impounding anyone we catch on the roadway illegally. The courts are opening back up to where we can charge people now. So they will be charged and their vehicles will be impounded if they continue to do it, because we've got their names and have received multiple calls on it, and I'm done dealing with it.
All right, thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Solicitor Babbitt, you have any?
I do not have anything tonight.
Okay. Well, I have a bunch of stuff. I just have stuff here. We got this, mosquito spraying is, they raised the price. It's gonna be $1,764. And I'm gonna have to have you guys say,
How many times is that, John?
that's 6. They're gonna charge us 42 cents per, wait a minute. No, $42 a mile.
it's
$7.
17, right?
Yeah, be 1764.
When is the date they're gonna start on this time?
They
Okay.
said in June is all they said, June to September, so hopefully we'll get sometime early in June.
Well, with all the rain we're gonna need it anyway, I'll make
Oh,
a motion to
absolutely.
accept that.
second,
Bennett,
Yes.
Thomas,
Yes.
Richards,
Yes.
McKinney,
yes.
Bailey,
Yes,
and Schott.
Yes.
Thank you. The flowers, that's $1,000 for, where's that all around? It's around here?
Yeah, the police department here and the cemetery. When we first started it, Joel Andrews, he's one of our officers,
Mhm.
was in charge of that. And he priced that out for us, to have those gentlemen come and do. They cleaned everything up, they planted a few perennials, then they put in the geraniums and mulch. Now, last year, I don't know that they mulched, but they're still quoting us $1,000.
we don't have no trouble with money or nothing.
For the 3 flower beds.
Can you get a detailed?
Well, that's what I need to do. I need to talk to Joel and then talk to the woman that called, because $1,000 to clean these up and plant.
Without mulching.
I'll do it for you.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, 700 would be good.
Yeah, I mean,
They're a little expensive.
I do have to say, when they did the first job, the first time,
Yeah,
they did a
nice.
real great,
they're
good
great,
job.
they're great workers. Those men are really great workers.
And if they were out here, they cleaned up real good, but if they didn't add mulch, that's probably not their fault, it's somebody above them that told them not to put the mulch.
I agree with that. Yep.
I can't see penalizing them, but I would like to know if they are gonna do the mulch before we, approve that.
Okay, I'll get a hold of, Joel to see if he has any paperwork from the first time, or I can dig to see what all I have on it, notes and stuff that I took on it. Because the woman said, well, I'm leaving it the same amount of money, which is fine, if you're not gonna plant more perennials and do the mulching, we're paying her for more than what it's worth.
Okay, and I had a couple of neighbors talk to me about the dogs running loose. I told them, they're allowed to have dogs loose in their yards. I was wondering if we could put a note in the utility bills to just tell people that they have to supervise their dogs when they're loose in the yard, or have them on a leash, just something, because You know, I watch these, when I get up early in the morning, I see these older people walking around the village, like 6:30 in the morning, whatever, walking their dogs, and unfortunately, they gotta carry clubs with them, or sticks, you know, because they don't know when a dog's gonna come after them.
We are charging one lady for letting her dog out, and the dog actually mauled one of her neighbor's cats.
Oh.
So,
So, but anyways, we're gonna do that, and then the only last thing I have is the Memorial Day services are gonna be canceled at South Lawn. That was their decision. They called me and asked me, and I said, no, I said, that's, you know, no parade, I understand. I said, we can still have the service. And then the gentleman called me back about 3 hours later here, and he told me, he said, well, he goes, they decided not to. So they're gonna cancel the whole thing. They are gonna put up flags if I can get Roxy's phone number, and, because she's supposed to do that. And then, they're gonna plant flowers down there around the monument, and they'll do the flags. So, but besides that, they said it's gonna be canceled, so, unless Larry comes up with something, you know?
I just talked to Commander Cox tonight.
Okay, that was the
And,
gentleman I talked to, yeah.
Yeah, he told me about it too, because, yeah, it was, they all voted on it. Some of them
Oh,
wanted
they
it,
were-
and some of them didn't,
okay.
and so they just decided, you know.
Okay, well, then it's not gonna happen.
Now
That's
you're
all I
talking
have.
the flags are not gonna happen?
No, the flags are gonna
The
happen,
flags
yeah.
will
But
happen.
they're just not gonna have any service at all down there.
Could you see if he could you talk to him and, well, no, I can call him, I still got his number. I'll call him, I wanna ask him, cause he said Roxy does it all the time, Roxy Rush.
I
She
don't know.
puts the flags up, I guess.
Okay, he said he had somebody, because normally the 4-H
Okay.
always went down,
Right.
and the Boy Scouts and stuff, and
See,
they can't
Roxy
do
and
that
her
now.
daughters were in the 4-H, but that was a while back.
But he did say he had somebody to
Oh.
put the flowers and the flags. He
Okay,
did tell
well,
me
he's
that.
got that taken care of. All right, anything else?
I have
Yes,
some.
oh, go ahead,
Yeah, you
ladies.
go ahead.
I had a question for Steve.
Uh-oh.
Do we have any kind of insurance on the workers? Let's say that one of our workers come down with a virus. Is the village got something that would cover them?
Yeah, help.
If they decided to bring charges against the council?
Oh, like you failed to protect them?
Yeah. Now, this is just an open question.
Well, I understand, Steve.
You know, as it relates to whether there is insurance in place, my guess is no. Will there be a quote for that type of coverage? Almost certainly. The insurance companies seem to keep up with that pretty well for some kind of pandemic coverage.
would that come under workman's comp?
Yeah, that's exactly, it would come under, then turning to liability, so I don't think there's insurance. It may have been available before, it certainly will be available now, and then to liability, it would be injuries that occur while you're on your job would be workers' comp. If they had contracted it outside of their job, then you're not, most likely not liable anyways, because it wouldn't be related to their work here. And then if it went to not workers' comp for whatever reason, and they contracted it while they were employed, I think it would be difficult, I don't know that they'd be at a negligence standard. I think they'd have to show that the village somehow recklessly exposed them to this risk and knew that the risk was there. And with everything being the way it is, the premise to all of the questions almost, or the answers to the questions always seems to be, there is no case on point that we can locate that would begin with the fact pattern, you know, of pandemic of this type that's spreading around, so I don't know that there'd be better authority than that.
Well, the reason why I asked that, the TV's been blasted about and saying that they want to get it where the workers, or the companies aren't being held.
Okay.
Oh, responsible.
Yeah. And, they want it where the people cannot sue the companies over that, and I was wondering how that would fit into our,
Well, see, we supply them with everything that they tell us, you know, the mask, the sanitation, the wipes. Where my son works, they don't give him anything. And he's called the health department and everything, and the health department hasn't done anything either, so it's sort of a moot point. I guess they go under a suggestion or something.
Wouldn't it be burden of proof though on the employee side? How do
Yeah.
we know, because of the difference of this virus, whether they picked it up
Sure,
in the building, or when they went to the post office, or then when they went to get groceries.
right, because they can, incubate for 14 days, so yeah, they have no idea. It'd be a hard case to win.
Yeah,
for
and
them.
there'll be a different standard from most likely what you see on TV for private companies versus governmental entities. Even like the director of health's order said, you know, we now have the revised Restart or Reopen Ohio, which has general office environments, but some of our clients have taken the position that, and rightfully so, possibly, that the initial order, the stay-at-home order exempted governmental entities. They said, you can decide on your own what's essential, what isn't, and take whatever steps you think are necessary. So my guess would be anything like that. Governmental entities probably already have the protection of some kind of immunity from that kind of liability, but, you know, lawyers being lawyers, I'm sure the cases are
Yeah,
on their
I
way.
just didn't want to find ourselves in a mess we couldn't figure out.
And I think that's gonna be what's reasonable under the circumstances. If what you're doing is reasonable under the circumstances, then I think any judge is going to see the circumstances and say, you know, was it, you knew the person in the office had it and you said, get in there, I don't care? Or is it, you know, you've taken steps, you know, limited how many people can come in. You've got, I think, masks
Mhm.
that are available there, hand sanitizer over there, so.
Yep. You've got wipes. And keep everybody away from each other.
I have something sort of relating to that. On our employees who are off because of this, are they being paid their salaries or are they doing unemployment?
Both of them have been paid according to the terms
Yeah.
set forth through the government, a percentage of their pay.
Okay.
Now, since they started opening up the businesses, that's when I said it's time that income tax come back to work.
Yes.
I mean, we can shut that door, put her in there, we can supply her a mask. If she's in her own office, she doesn't have to wear that mask. She thought she would make appointments and bring people in to help and do taxes. Number one, she complained years ago about doing it, she wasn't paid enough money, she was to quit doing the taxes. There's no reason for anybody to come in and sit in her office any longer. If they need to speak to her, they can go to the drive-through window, or they could, if we open the doors, they can come in and then they could go to that counter over there, the smaller counter. That'll be enclosed with the glass partition also. They can speak to her, we'll have a calculator for her to figure something up, leave their taxes, and she's done with them.
Well, yeah, and my thing is if there's a refusal to come back to work,
We sent them letters because it was suggested through our insurance company that anybody who was on furlough or unemployment receive a letter. The letter would state that because of the virus, da-da-da-da-da, it's time to come back to work. They had to sign it. Yes, they'd be returning, or no, they wouldn't, and they had to check the box. Anybody who's on unemployment, who is frightened, doesn't want to come back to work,
you lose their unemployment.
the companies are to turn that paper or a copy of it back into the state of Ohio, then they will lose their unemployment. And with the other person from Mrs. Matheny, with her having the COPD and she wanted to quit, she told me a week ago she was going to leave. Well, then she showed up Friday and she wanted to work. And I said, no, you're either gonna stay and you're gonna come into the office just like Stephanie will be, and either you wear a mask or we both wear a mask because we share an office. But I couldn't guarantee her that council was going to agree and decide that the residents have to wear a mask when they come in once the doors are open. I said, I cannot, that's not my decision to make. If you come back and they decide that, when you go through this building, she could catch it. If they are asymptomatic, they don't have any signs, but they're a carrier, it's possible. Not your fault, not my fault, not their fault. But she had to take that into consideration. She could not wish-wash back and forth, either you're staying and you're gonna work, or you're done. She was going to let me know tomorrow morning, depending on what you decided tonight, if you were going to have the public wear a mask or not once we open the doors.
And the question on that, it would be, or how long, like, when we open the doors, like, are they gonna have to wear a mask for what, a year or 2 years?
Well,
You know what I'm
that's your
saying?
decision to
Yeah.
make the decision and follow the health guidelines of
The state.
the state.
And
Well,
the state right now says that you don't have to, but
And would we,
Menards.
would we have to supply the masks?
For,
when they
for
come
the
in?
public, no.
Okay.
It's, the state left it up to each company to make their own decisions. They backed off from that, from everybody having to wear a mask, that each company had the right to make their own decision. Either they wanted to serve them with or without mask, the public needs to follow that company's guidelines. So it's our choice on what we do here also.
So,
But yeah, I couldn't make that decision for her. I can't protect her any more than what we've already tried to do.
And the other thing, a little side note to that, on Friday I got a call from I think it was a legal aid to Bob Gibbs, the congressman, because I had sent an email out asking if this happens to where we have to pay people, what's it gonna be coming out of, and how are we gonna get reimbursed if we have somebody not here, but we gotta pay them? And their short answer was, well, we don't have anything in place yet for that, but
No,
it's
they
coming.
don't.
But it's coming, so that was their,
Yeah.
it'll be here, you just
so it's
gotta wait.
Christmas.
For small governments, not businesses, for
Yeah.
municipalities that have to pay the sick time when you have to, I sent one employee home for like a week and a half, because he had some symptoms of it, but didn't have it, and ended up, but I didn't want him anywhere near,
Yeah.
so I ordered him to go home for a weekend. And right there, it's like, he's not gonna get docked out of his sick bank for that, because it's actually hanging up over on the employee rights thing, where we have to pay him for that. The government just hasn't said where that money's going to come from, but they said sooner or later it will. So that was on Friday, I got that call, so.
The only bad thing about, we could say that they'd have to wear a mask, but then eventually they won't.
Some people will come in without a mask. What do? Go tell Greg?
Yeah, I know,
Or
that's.
call Kurt,
Yeah,
Yeah.
so and to me, it's like, you got the mask, you could say, yeah, for, the rest of the month, and then in June, maybe they'll lift the order, and won't want anybody to wear a mask, who knows? It'd be awful,
And bottom line, this could be, here 6 months or 6 years or 16 years.
exactly.
It
Who
may
knows?
not ever go away.
Right, who knows? Yeah, so,
Okay, my other thing that I wanted to bring up, Thursday is the National Day of Prayer observance. I just wanted to get that on record that we will be doing a Facebook Live event. There will be 9 people in the building, socially distanced,
be
And-
6 o'clock, right?
6 o'clock, yes,
And that's in the thing over here, right?
Friendship Hall.
Fellowship, definitely.
Yes. It will be locked, so nobody can get in except the participants, so that, we can't have people just coming in, because
Right.
we
Right.
cut down on the people because of the guidelines.
Right.
But I just wanted to get that, like, on the record,
Mhm.
and if Barb talks to anybody, if you could mention that to Barb, we would
This
appreciate
Thursday,
it.
right, the 7th,
It's the 7th, and it's a Facebook Live on
6 o'clock.
the National Day of Prayer Beach City, Ohio page.
Which
That's all I
Beach
have.
City, Ohio page?
No, it's not a Beach City, Ohio page, it's the National Day of Prayer, Beach City, Ohio. So,
No, she's gonna call me tomorrow.
okay, I just would like to get that. So, that's
Okay.
all I have.
Anything else? All righty. Thank you very much. We'll sign next.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.